The excerpt of Take Me Home, Country Roads by John Denver that I'll be teaching you today contains 4 different chords that you'll play with your left hand and a very simple melody that you'll play with your right hand. You can download the free specialized sheet music of Take Me Home, Country Roads by clicking on the link directly below this video player. If you've already printed out the sheet music, then let's get started. Now, you may have noticed that the music looks very elementary, but I promise you, this is all you need to create a professional, full-sounding piano arrangement. It's very easy to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it in this short 10-minute video lesson. Also, it's best to learn the right hand and left hand parts separately, and then, when you can play each part comfortably, then play both hands together. So if you're ready, let's start with the right hand melody. Okay, the right hand melody to Take Me Home, Country Roads by John Denver. So our first note starts on the G directly above middle C. Here's middle C. Here's our starting note. So we're going to start with our thumb on that G, and here we go. And in fact, we'll be able to get all the way down to line 2 without moving out of the 5-finger position. So here we go. Alright, now the last note I played was that first G in line 2. Now, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to shift the top part of the hand just a little bit. So we're now moving out of that 5-finger position. The 5-finger position in G would just be thumb on the G and then cover every other white key in a row. But our melody is actually going to go up to this high E here. So that kind of moves the hand just a little bit out of the 5-finger position. So to do that, what we're going to do, after you play that G at the beginning of line 2, you're just going to move your second finger over, play that B with your second finger, that D you're going to play with your 4th finger, and then that puts your pinky comfortably on the highest note of the song. And here we go. So going from that E, so we have 2 more E's there. Okay, just move your 3rd finger over, play that B. Reason being, that'll give you enough fingers to where your thumb can reach this low G. And now you have enough fingers, your hand is in a good position to finish the rest of the melody. So here we go. Okay, now it's always a good idea to write in the fingering. So, our first G, if you put in a 1 under that first G, and then that will allow us to get all the way up to line 2. So here we go. There's the G at the beginning of line 2. So now that next B, write in a 2 over the B and a 4 over the G, a 4 over the D. That will allow us to use our pinky or our 5th finger on that E, which is the highest note not only of the line but of the entire song. And then now the melody starts to move back down. Okay, so that last measure of line 2, that B there, the second note, write in a 3 above that B. Okay, let's finish line 2. Now we're at the beginning of line 3, that A. So you don't have to write in any fingering here because your hand is going to be covering. Because after you play those last 3 notes of line 2, that automatically puts your hand back in that 5-finger position. And the 5-finger position is wherever your thumb is. If you have all the white notes covered, that's your 5-finger position. Okay, so beginning of line 3, you'll have your second finger on that A. You can write it in if you want, just to kind of double check, make sure your hand is in the right position. But now you have enough fingers and your hand is in the right position to finish the rest of the song. So here we go, beginning of line 3. Okay, so replay this as many times as necessary, and when you feel comfortable, move on to the left-hand chords. Okay, there are 4 different chords for Take Me Home, Country Roads. The first chord is going to be the G major chord. So here's middle C. So we're going to start with that first G below middle C. We're going to put our pinky on the G. So we want G, B, and D. A good fingering is pinky, middle finger, and thumb. A good alternative would be your ring finger, your pointer, and your thumb. So you can either go pinky, middle finger, thumb, or ring finger, pointer, thumb. Either fingering will work, it's just a matter of what is more comfortable for you. Alright, so there's our G chord. We're going to move left to the D chord, the D major chord, which is D, F sharp, and A. If you're real new to the piano, all a sharp is, all we did was take the F and we raised it a half step. That's what we call a sharp. So D major again is D, F sharp, and A. Okay, first chord of line 2, the E minor chord. We're going to move 1 to the right. You know it's a minor chord because you see that little M in the chord symbol. So E minor from left to right is E, G, and B. And then the C chord, move to the left, which is C, E, and G. Now just finishing the chord progression, the next chord is a G chord. That was the first chord of the song, G, B, and D. Now if you're real new to these chords, what you may want to do is write in the notes of each chord above each chord symbol. So our G chord is G, B, and D. What you might want to do is write that in exactly as you're playing it, left to right. Write exactly that way, G, B, and D right above the chord symbol. This way when you come to it in the song, if you're not quite sure of it, you can just look at your little cheat sheet above the chord symbol, and your hand will be able to go, you'll be able to find those notes very quickly. Alright, D major chord, first chord on line 3, move to the left. D, F sharp, and A. And then the last 2 chords are the C major and the G major. Okay, so replay this part as many times as necessary, and when you're comfortable, move on to the next part where I will show you how to play both hands together. Okay, Take Me Home, Country Roads by John Denver. Here we go, both hands together. Now, there is no chord in that first measure, so those first 2 melody notes get played by themselves. Now, here we come. Our first chord is that G chord. You'll notice that G chord is directly above that B note in the right hand. So that's an indication that they get played together. Now, there are no other chords in that measure, so just finish those notes. Okay, now we're at the next measure. So you'll notice I'm getting ready to play the A note in the right hand, but directly above that is our D major chord. Once again, since they line up, they get played together. There are no other chords in that measure, so play those last 2 notes. Now we're at that first measure of line 2. So we have our E minor chord, and directly below that we have the G note in the right hand. They get played together. Now move your second finger over to that B. Here we go. Alright, now I'm getting ready to play that high C, or excuse me, I'm getting ready to play the high E in the right hand, but I'm going to play the C chord with my left hand. Okay, so there's 2 more E notes. Okay, next measure, I'm getting ready to play the D in the right hand. That lines up with the G chord. last line, I'm going to play the D chord in the left hand with the A in the right hand. Okay, so let me play that a little bit quicker. And once again, I know I probably went through that a little fast, but you can replay this part as many times as necessary so you can see what chord lines up with what note in the right hand. All right, so here we go. Okay, now you may have noticed that I actually played more chords. Basically what I did, just kind of looking at that first line there. Alright, there's our first G chord. Now there are no other chords in that measure, so that the entire right hand melody is based on the G chord. Now what I did, I just came in with another G chord to fill it up. It just happens to be in this song that when I bring in that extra chord, there's nothing going on in the right hand. Which makes it a lot easier. But once again, it does fill it up a little bit more, rather than just playing the one chord at the beginning of the measure. Okay, so once again, replay this as many times as necessary and enjoy the tutorial. My name is Guy Fawkes and this is EasyChordPianoLessons.com.